Hey, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to take apart a Dell Precision T3400 desktop computer. I'm going to start from the very beginning and take you all the way down to the very basics of the machine, the motherboard, and all the other connections and everything that you have to remove. This video is specifically for the Precision T3400. However, what I'm going to show you is pretty standard across all desktops. So even if your machine is a little different, the concepts are the same. So you could learn a lot by watching what I'm doing, but just know that the video here is specific to the Precision T3400. Hope you enjoy. Stick around. I'm going to show you how to do it. If you look at the top here, the back of the case, you have a little thumb release, and that's going to make this super easy. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is lay it down on its left side. You've got this thumb release right here. You can see the top cover literally just pops right off, and just pull that off and set it to the side. And now you have access to the guts. This is where it gets fun. One thing I love about Dell computers, at least the old Dells, is they made it super easy to get everything in and out. In this particular example, I'm taking the hard drive out for a client because it has gone bad. So right here, which would be the bottom right side of the case, you've got two cables here. You've got your data cable and your power cable. Just pull those out, and Dell gives you these great little thumb tabs. You just literally pinch them both in and the drive slides right out. Now, when you're taking the hard drive out, you've got screws right here and here on both sides. So if you're using an external drive reader, you need to make sure you remove those. As you can see, I've got the case off and I've got the screws with it while I work on the hard drive. One of the things I love about these Dell towers, these old Dell towers, is they always have multiple drive bays, these larger cases. This was the original drive here, and they've got space here where you can add an extra drive for storage if you want to. A lot of people now are upgrading this main drive to a faster SSD drive and putting their original drive in here as extra storage. So it gives you speed and extra space, which is really cool. And all you need is an extra power cord from your power supply, which will look like that, and an extra data cable, which looks like that. And you can tell if you've got enough room for an extra data cable because here are your data cable ports right here coming off your motherboard. Now in this case there's only two. One's going to the DVD drive and the other is going to the hard drive. So, but if you look around, look at there. There's four more ports right there. So you could potentially put 6 extra devices in here if your power supply, which is right here, had enough extra ports. And you can always add, you can get conversion kits which will convert one plug into 2 and so forth. So you could effectively have a handful of devices in here. But again, as far as storage goes, you've only got that one extra storage space. So just keep that in the back of your mind if you decide you want to add stuff on later. Okay, it's important to note from this point, you do not have to take everything out if you're only replacing something specific like the power supply or the CD drive over here, or maybe one of the add-on cards, or replacing a hard drive, something along those lines. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to go all the way down to the main board, but if you're just upgrading your drive, for example, or adding some memory here, you don't have to go through all this and you don't have to take everything apart. Most everything is pretty easily accessible, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, so in this particular example, because we're going to go all the way down to the motherboard, you definitely want to make sure that power is removed. Now, in this machine, you don't have to remove the power supply, but you need to at least make sure that you disconnect it. So if you want to remove the power supply, or in some cases replace the power supply, it's just 4 screws. One here, and then another 2 down here. And once you have those 4 screws removed, right here in the front, you would literally just push down on this little tab and pull the power supply out, and that'll remove it from this connection to the outer case. And you want to remove the power supply connector here. That's your main power supply going to your motherboard. You can just literally pinch it, pinch and pull. It just wiggles right out, just like that. And then you have another 4-pin connector right here. Okay, same concept, just pinch and pull. Okay, there you go. So let me show you what all I did. As it was connected, you just literally pinch and it releases out like that. So that's all you have to do. Take the 4 back screws out and that tab, and you can completely remove the power supply. You can see here, let me get my screwdriver and show you. Right down here, you see that? That's basically another cable tie that's attached to the main case to help you route your cables. So just undo that, and there you go. And it doesn't always come out perfect. Sometimes cables get caught up, and just basically, you're not gonna hurt it. So just tug on it. And I got this big old thing in the way. So this is just the cover for the cooling fan. So I'm just gonna remove this data cable here that's just laying on top and lift this piece here. Okay, so once you get this out of the way, you've got one screw right down here, okay, and another one exactly on the other side. Now these screws do not come completely out of the system. They are, I don't even know what they're called. They're kind of like, I call them torsion screws because they stay in place and just fit into the motherboard, but don't actually come out. Now once you've done that and you've got those screws out of place, get this out of the way real quick. Okay, so once you've got those screws undone, you can literally just lift this thing like so. And let me see if I can move it. So you've got a hinge right here. You can literally just slide it right off the hinge and out it comes. And there's your processor. There's your cooling fan for the processor at the bottom of this contraption. And then at that point, just got to remove your add-on cards. And I'm going to go ahead next and remove these add-on cards because they're going to be in the way. This card actually has one newer than the PCI. It looks like PCI Express, so it's a little tricky. What you have to do, let's see if I can get the video down here. There is a little tab right here. You see my finger? Move that tab, and then once you do that, you can pull this card out, and at that point, you literally can just slide it right out. So there's the top down. The back of the card goes here. You just have to move this tab right here, and pops right out. Okay. And again, same thing, super dusty, so that will get cleaned off. This one is just an old PCI connection, but I do have, it's a sound card, so I'm just going to remove the cable that goes to it from the motherboard. So I'm just gonna pull the cable out just like that, and then literally the card slides right out. Also very dusty. So as you can see now, you've got all these, you're getting a little more wiggle room in here. Now we're also going to have to remove these other cards. Anything that's plugged in back here is going to prevent you from taking the motherboard out. So I'm going to go ahead and get those out, and we'll move right along. Okay, so as you can see, there's all the cards that came out. Generally, if I'm putting them right back in, I like to lay them down in the order I took them out. It just makes it so much easier to put them back and not have to deal with Windows trying to reinstall them because they thinks that it's new devices. And as you can see right here, all the cables and cards are disconnected, and we are getting closer and closer to being able to remove our motherboard. So a couple of the things we got to do. This right here is your what they call IDE cable from 100 years ago. This provides data from the motherboard to your hard drive. You literally just pull that out right out of there. And then what the biggest task you have is finding any other connections, like, let me get that out of the way, like that one and that one. Anything connecting into the motherboard from outside the motherboard. And see, here's another IDE cable. Just tug on it. Okay, so once you got all that done, you are on the home stretch. There are 8 screws that look like that, holding the motherboard down to the case, and 2 that you do not want to forget are these CPU fan brackets. There's one here and there's one inside here, so there's 8 including those 2. And once you do that, you can literally take this entire motherboard and lift it right out of the system, and you are ready to replace your motherboard. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, I'd appreciate you if you liked and subscribed, and stay tuned for some more educational videos. Have a great day.